Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today I am continuing on with the prep work for the chicken coop. So this is what I have done so far. We got it graded in our last video, and I've gone ahead and set out some pins in the kind of general corner area. So this is what it's going to be. It's going to be a 6-foot wide by 18-foot long chicken coop. What I'm going to do today is go ahead and get a string line set, get it squared up exactly, get the corners set exactly where they need to be, because I'm going to put cinder blocks down. I've got a trailer load of them over on the driveway. There's a few that I brought over here already. So what I'm going to do is border the whole thing with cinder blocks and then set the chicken coop on top of that. So I'm going to get the string line set up so that we're ready to do that, and I'll show you guys how to do it. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here is get a few pins set for my string. And so what I'm going to do, I've got 4 pins here. So my plan is to put 2 here and 2 here. And what that's going to allow me to do, I'm going to have one at the back that the string is anchored to. And then the one in the front is going to allow me to move that string left or right and make sure that I get it exactly where it needs to be. So this is roughly where my corner is going to be. And so I'm going to put this pin just a little bit on the inside of it, and that'll allow me to use this secondary pin to push that string out and get it lined up exactly where we want it. So this one's going to be kind of right in here. All right, so we got that one there. I'm going to do the same thing here, except this one's going to be on this side, and that'll allow me to pull this string out this way. Right, and so I'm going to go around on all these corners and put one of these pins in and get them ready so that I can go ahead and start pulling string. All right, so now that I've got that in, I'm going to go ahead and start running string, and I'm going to get this close to where it needs to be. So I'm going to use these pins as a reference point to start, and then I'll figure out exactly where everything needs to be after that. Alright, so I'm going to show y'all how to tie this. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of room. So because we're going to potentially be adjusting where this is sitting, I want to tie a knot that'll let me adjust the length of this string. And so the way we do that, so we come around it, we're going to go under, we're going to do 2 loops under like this. And then you're going to go under here and back through this loop right here. Tighten that up, and what that does is that gives us a little locking slip knot. So I can pull it tight and it'll stay taut. But then if I need to, I can slide this knot back down, it loosens it back up. So what this allows me to do is, if I wind up having to move this string over too much and I don't have enough slack, or if I need to move it back in and it gets too much slack, I can adjust it on both ends. I put one of these knots on both ends, so it'll let me adjust it both ways. All right. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and set these pins pretty close. This one's actually going to be a little bit, it's actually a little too far in, because what I need to do, I need to add 4 inches onto the end of my, or onto the width. So the chicken coop is 6 feet wide, but I need to add 4 inches because I'm going to bury cinder blocks in the ground, and I want the chicken coop, the outside edge of the chicken coop to be 2 inches off of, or 2 inches into the cinder block. So this is right where I want that back edge of that cinder block to be, which means this one, I need to push 4 inches this way so I can split the difference. So let's see if we are 6 feet wide right here. And we are. We're pretty much dead on 6 feet right there. So what I'm going to do is push this line back 2 inches off of here with this pin, and that's going to set this right where it needs to be. So what I'm going to do is take this pin right here, push back 2 inches off the back of this. That's 1, that's 2 inches. So actually we need to be 4 inches, I said. So we're going to set this 4 inches off of there. It's going to be right there. All right, and then we'll check it one more time. And we are just barely over 4 inches, so we'll just take this, tap it in a little bit, and that's got us 4 inches. So now what I'm going to do is check the length and make sure that it's 18 inches of length. And we may need to do a little bit of adjusting there too. So we go ahead and take one of these down there, just so I've got it in hand. And we'll measure our length. I'm going to check this because I don't want to be pulling this in too far. And if I pull on that, it is pulling. So what I'm going to do is set this on that pin. Hopefully it'll have enough to hold. I have a feeling it's going to slip off, but let's try it. Okay, it'll hold, good. So we're pretty much right on 18 feet there. So again, I'm going to push this one 4 inches back, and that'll set this one where it needs to be. All right, so for that, I'm probably going to need a little slack. Yeah, I need a little bit of slack. So this is why these are really handy. You can set that right there, pull this back where it needs to be, put it right on 4 inches. I believe I pulled that a little when I was pounding it in. Yep, I did. So just push it that way a little bit. That's right on our 4 inches. So now I got to get this pin or this string over to our 6 inch mark, or not 6 inches, 4 inches. So we're going to get it 4 inches off of there. But I'm going to check it here first and see if we're 6 feet. And we are right on 6 feet. Now, once I get this one set where it needs to be, that doesn't necessarily mean that this corner is square. So once I get this string set, then I'll show you a measurement tool that we can use to see if this is a right angle and perfectly square corner. All right, so that's our 4 inches there. So I'm pretty sure now that these are not square. Well, actually I know they're not because I've moved that one and that one. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get that one where it needs to be exactly, and then we'll pull that pin. I want to get 2 of these corners exactly where they need to be. So I'm going to have to set this pin because I need to pull this pin. So what I've got to do is set this one to where that string just touches on that pin right there. So I want it right there. All right. So that one's right where it needs to be. So now what we can do to check if this is square is called the 3-4-5 rule. And so what you do is you measure 3 feet on one leg, 4 feet on the other leg, and you should have 5 feet exactly in between them. And if you have those measurements exactly, then you've got a perfect right angle in your corner. All right, so that's 3 and 4. So now we'll check here. We should have 5 feet if this is a square, and we do. All right, so that's a perfect right angle corner. So I'm going to set this one off of this. Okay, y'all, so I'm done getting everything squared up. It took a little bit longer than I had anticipated, and I had to start over a couple times because I kind of screwed it up. So let me show you what process actually worked and what I did when I screwed up. So the first thing that I tried to do was just get one of these corners square and then square the other end, and thought that would work. And it probably could have, but it was not working out the way I wanted it to. So what I did is I just set pins in this corner over here just to kind of hold things. And then I measured off of that corner this way and got this long line set, got this end of this long line set where it needed to be. So that was 6 feet 4 inches there. And then what I did is I measured off of that line and came this way and set this one in place at 18 feet 4 inches. So then I've got the width set here and the length set here. And so then what I just had to do was get it squared up. So I started in this corner here, and I did not move this line once I got it in place. Once I got that one where it needed to be, it stayed exactly where it was. And then I moved this line, back and forth to get it squared up. So like I said, we did the 3-4-5 method. So I put my knot there at 3 feet there, and then at 4 feet right here. And then I just moved this pin to get it set so that there's 5 feet in between those points. Now once I got that set and I had this corner square, then what I did was I measured off of that string and got my width on this end correct. So I had to get that corner square first, or else this would have wound up in a trapezoid, or a parallelogram, I guess is what it would have been. So measured off of there to here, 6 feet 4 inches. So that gets both of these ends from here to here, 6 foot 4, from here to here, 6 foot 4, and then from there over to there was 18.4. Then all I had to do at that point was set this end at 18 feet 4. So I measured off of this one, because remember we're square here. So I measured off of this one and put this string here at 18 feet 4 inches right here. And so once I got done with that, I checked everything, it's all square, and finally got done with it. So that's the method that worked out good for me. You may find something else that works well for you, but that's what I did. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these cinder blocks set into place. I'm not going to dig them in today, but I'm at least gonna kind of get them laid out just so I can get them off of my trailer. So go ahead and do that real quick. All right, y'all, so I got all the block laid out, so let me kind of show you what we got. So obviously I don't have it dug in and leveled yet, but here's where we sit. So I went ahead and put the block out. I wasn't gonna do it today, but Tucker, my dog, keeps running through here and catching the line, and I didn't want him to wind up moving anything, so I went ahead and threw the blocks down just so that they'd have a little bit of, that line would have a little bit of protection. So anyway, this is where we are. So next steps are going to be digging them in. So I've got some marking paint. I'm going to go along the ground on both sides and mark it, and then I'll just start digging. Obviously we have a lot more to do on this end. You can see the string is pretty far down there, and then on this end it's just a very little bit that we have to do. So this side is kind of the same situation, but it's a little exaggerated over here. So we've got a little bit there we got to dig, a couple inches. Down here we're going to be probably 6 inches we got to dig. So we got a good bit to do, but it'll get done probably a little bit later this week. I've got to work the next 2 days, so I'm not really going to get any time to work on it for the next couple days, but hopefully we'll be back on it pretty soon and get it finished up. All right, so that's what we've got for today. So next steps will be digging these in, leveling them out, getting them in the final spot before we get the coop. If you want to see the rest of this project, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we post new videos. And we'll get this thing finished up here pretty soon. So we'll see you guys on the next video.